Hi everybody, this is Will Bowen with today's JumpStart. Today I want to talk about empathy, which is, of course we know, important. Empathy, it means to have a justifiable response to the feelings of other people. I recently watched the Ted Bundy tapes on Netflix, and I also watched the Ted Bundy movie, and I also read a book on Ted Bundy because I think he's fascinating. I think he's fascinating because he had absolutely no empathy, and yet he didn't seem to have the typical upbringing of an abused child that one would expect, although there was some speculation that his stepfather abused him. But I don't want to get off on Ted Bundy right now. The other reason I read it was I used to live in Seattle, and a lot of that stuff was going on. But what I want to talk about is there's an interesting correlation between empathy and guilt. Scientists have found that if you are high on the empathy level, you tend to be high on the guilt level. And if you are low on the guilt level, you're low on the empathy level. But doesn't that make perfect sense? I mean, how much empathy do you think Ted Bundy had? None, of course. He couldn't have carried out what he did. And how much guilt do you think he had? Very little, if any, because he wouldn't have continued to do what he did. That's simply the way it works. The point I'm trying to make, setting aside serial killers, is that for each of us, as we cultivate empathy, we begin to feel guilty for not doing more for other people. It's one of the reasons that we don't do things we know are good for other people, even recycling, you know? I have to have empathy with the world and recycle. And then, I feel guilty if I didn't throw this toilet paper roll in the recycling instead of the trash can, you know? And so it actually ties us up. So what I'm trying to say is that empathy is good. And guilt, to a certain extent, believe it or not, is good. It is good. Because guilt is designed to keep you from repeating a negative behavior from your past. Let me say that again. Guilt is designed to keep you from repeating a negative behavior from your past. That is not to be confused with shame. Shame is you are bad for being a human being in the first place. That's shame, okay? But guilt makes sense. And what I'm inviting you to do is to cultivate a little bit of a sense of guilt. You want the world to be better? You need to feel guilty for not doing a little bit better, for having empathy with other people, and for doing better. And if you're mad at me because I said this today, well, don't blame the messenger. Or if you want to, blame the messenger. Write a comment below and I'll come back and have a conversation with you. Listen, enjoy today, and we'll talk tomorrow. Bye-bye.